To regain your confidence, you might think you need to add something to your life, a new hobby, a new routine, but the truth is, the most powerful first step is to remove what's poisoning it. There are 5 subtle habits many of us fall into after 60, that actively drain our self-assurance every single day. Over the next hour, we're going to drag these 5 habits into the light. I'll show you the science of why they're so destructive and give you the simple, practical antidote for each. The first one is the most common, and you might be doing it without even realizing. This isn't about blame. It's about awareness. It's about spotting the invisible patterns that no longer serve you, patterns that were harmless at 40 but become corrosive at 65. These are the quiet chains that hold us back from feeling the way we deserve to feel, strong, relevant, and in command. We will not be dealing in vague ideas or wishful thinking. This is a strategic deep dive, an evidence-based roadmap to reclaim the core of your inner strength. The world changes, our bodies change, but the man inside does not have to diminish. If you are ready to trade theory for action and want a playbook for the man who refuses to be a spectator, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. We are building a community dedicated to practical mastery in this chapter of life. Let us begin the work of dismantling what weakens us to build a foundation of unshakable, mature confidence. The very first habit, the one that quietly siphons away more strength than any other, is the habit of living in the past. We call it nostalgia, and it seems harmless. We tell stories of our prime, of past victories, of a world that seemed to make more sense. It feels like wrapping yourself in a warm blanket on a cold day. But what is happening neurologically when you do this? Each time you recall a potent memory of success, your brain gets a small, easy hit of dopamine, the chemical of reward. It's a phantom victory. You are rewarding your brain for something already finished, something requiring zero effort in the present. It's like eating candy for every meal. It satisfies the immediate craving, but destroys your appetite for real nourishment. The real nourishment is your life, right now. Why is this so dangerous? It creates a treacherous feedback loop. The more you depend on past glories for good feelings, the less motivated you are to create new ones. Why wrestle with a difficult project today when you can so easily replay the highlight reel from 1995? Slowing, your brain learns a devastating lesson. The past is the place of pleasure, and the present is the place of struggle and decline. This is a lie, but it's a deeply convincing one your own brain chemistry reinforces. You see this pattern in conversation. It's the man who starts every story with "we used to." It's the man who compares every innovation to the old way and always finds the new way lacking. He isn't trying to be difficult. He is reaching for a feeling of competence in a world where he no longer feels he knows all the rules. But to everyone else, he sounds disconnected, like a man who is already checked out. This habit also starves your mind. Neuroscientists have shown that the brain thrives on novelty. Learning and adapting to new situations builds cognitive reserve, a key factor in long-term brain health. It keeps your mind agile. When you only replay the old hits, your world contracts. You grow more rigid, and a rigid mind is a brittle one. So how do you escape this trap? True confidence is never about what you have done. It is always about your belief in what you can still do. It's the conviction that you can handle what comes next. By constantly looking backward, you are practicing the belief that your best is behind you. You are teaching yourself to become a relic. The antidote is not to forget your past, but to stop living in it. We call it the one new thing rule. This is a conscious, deliberate decision to inject a small dose of novelty into your life on a regular basis. This isn't about climbing a mountain. The scale is intentionally small, but the impact is profound. You are proving to your own brain that you are still an active participant in the world, not just a curator of your own museum. A new thing could be listening to a playlist of music you've never explored. It could be taking a different route on your daily walk, forcing your brain to navigate instead of running on autopilot. It could be trying one new recipe a week, even something simple. It could be reading the first chapter of a book on a subject you know nothing about. The goal is not mastery. The goal is the stretch. Every time you do one new thing, you send a powerful signal to your subconscious. I am still learning. I am still adapting. I am still here. You create a fresh dopamine hit from a present-day action, which begins to compete with the cheap high of nostalgia. You start to retrain your brain to find satisfaction in the now. So, what is your first move? Start small. Your one new thing this week could be as simple as trying a different brand of coffee or visiting a local shop you've never entered. The action itself matters less than the act of choosing it. It is a quiet act of defiance against the gravity of the past. You are seizing the pen. You are no longer just the narrator of past chapters. You are the author of this one, today. Reclaiming the present is the first step. But then you face a critical question. What are you going to fill it with? This is where the second silent poison ambushes us. It's the habit of subsisting on an information-only diet. Consider how you spend your hours. Many of us fall into a pattern of endless, passive consumption. We watch the news for hours. We scroll through countless articles. We consume and consume and consume. We are the most informed generation in human history, but does that make us feel powerful, or does it do the exact opposite? Information, when consumed passively, creates a profound sense of powerlessness. Every report about a global crisis you cannot solve, every article about a bewildering trend, every market fluctuation you cannot control, it all hammers home one debilitating message. The world is happening to you. Your role is simply to watch and worry. You are a spectator. This is poison for the male psyche, which is wired for agency, for action, for having an effect on its environment. When you only consume, you practice being a bystander in your own life. But confidence is never built by watching. It is forged by doing. It comes from being, not merely an effect. This endless stream of information, especially the negative kind, also keeps your nervous system in a low-grade state of alarm. This can elevate cortisol, the stress hormone, which is a known killer of clear thinking, energy, and self-assurance. So you end up well-informed, perpetually anxious, and feeling utterly inert. We mistake being informed for being engaged. We debate headlines with friends and feel we are participating. But an opinion is not an accomplishment. We are drowning in data, but starved of doing. Confidence is built on the bedrock of competence, and competence only comes from action. Think of a master carpenter. His confidence does not come from reading woodworking manuals. It comes from the sawdust on his shirt and the calluses on his hands. It comes from the finished chair that stands before him, a tangible result of his skill. He has translated knowledge into reality. What is the antidote for the rest of us? It's a simple rule to rebalance your daily activity, the creation ratio. For every 3 hours you spend passively consuming information, you must intentionally spend 1 hour actively creating, producing, or doing. Creating here is a broad concept. It is the simple act of bringing something into the world or imposing order on chaos. It is the shift from observer to actor. What does this look like in practice? It could be writing a thoughtful email to a grandchild. It could be organizing one corner of the garage, transforming a disordered space into an ordered one. That is creation. It could be fixing the dripping faucet that has annoyed you for months. It could be planting a small box of herbs on the windowsill. It could be mentoring someone, taking your life experience and actively shaping another person's path. These are all active pursuits. They require your input, your decisions, your hands. They produce a result, a visible change in your world. Try tracking your time for just one day. How many hours are spent watching versus doing? The results might be a wake-up call. Then, set a tiny goal. Tomorrow, aim for just 30 minutes of creation time. Pick one small task. Organize one drawer. Write one letter. Fix one thing. Notice the feeling that follows. That feeling is the seed of authentic confidence. It is the feeling of agency. It is the feeling of being a man who does things, not just a man to whom things are done. And the most fundamental form of doing, the one our bodies and minds are wired to respect, is physical action. Yet this is precisely where the third habit tells us to surrender. This is the habit of ceding physical territory. It happens by 1,000 small cuts. It starts with small surrenders. You stop kneeling in the garden because getting back up is a chore. You let someone else carry the heavy bag of dog food. You choose the elevator over a single flight of stairs. Each decision seems logical, a sensible concession to the calendar. You tell yourself, I'm just being smart about it. But what does your subconscious mind hear? It hears, I am no longer capable. My world is shrinking. I am becoming dependent. Your physical domain, the territory you can confidently command, begins to contract. And as your physical world shrinks, so does your mental confidence. There is a primal, unbreakable link between physical capability and a man's sense of self. This isn't about looking like a movie star. It's about autonomy. It's about the quiet knowledge that you can handle the physical demands of your own life. When you begin outsourcing every physical challenge, you are outsourcing pieces of your independence. That slight hesitation before getting up from a low sofa, that flicker of fear on an icy patch of sidewalk, these are not just physical problems. They are cracks in the foundation of your confidence, constant, nagging reminders of a growing fragility. The science behind this is clear. It relates to self-efficacy, which is your belief in your own ability to handle a situation. When you successfully complete a physical task, no matter how small, you reinforce your self-efficacy. Your brain gets a tiny hit of confirmation. See? Still got it. Conversely, every time you avoid a physical task you could have done, it chips away at that belief. This creates a vicious downward spiral. The less you do, the less you can do. Muscles that go unchallenged will weaken. Joints that aren't taken through their range of motion will stiffen. Your body brilliantly adapts to the low expectations you set for it. The sensible decision to take it easy actually accelerates the decline you hope to avoid. You actively train your body to be less capable, which in turn proves to your mind that you are less capable. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But a prophecy can be rewritten. You can reverse the spiral. You can start reclaiming your physical ground, inch by inch. The antidote is what we call the one hard thing a day principle. This is about reintroducing voluntary, manageable physical challenges into your routine. The key word is manageable. This is not about being reckless. It is about choosing effort. It's about deliberately doing something that requires physical exertion, something your lazy brain might tell you to avoid. What does one hard thing look like for a man over 60? It's carrying the groceries in one trip. It's consciously taking the stairs. It's getting down on the floor to play with the dog, and then getting back up without assistance, even if it's slow. It's doing 5 bodyweight squats while the coffee brews. It's parking at the far end of the lot to guarantee a longer walk. The task itself matters less than the intention. You are choosing the path of more resistance, not less. You are sending a defiant message to your body and your mind. Not yet. I am not done. Every time you complete your one hard thing, you make a deposit in your confidence bank. You are not just building strength, you are building evidence. You are collecting proof of your own capability. So, what will it be today? Look at the day ahead of you. Find one small, safe physical task that you would normally avoid, and just do it. That single act of reclaiming physical territory will echo through your entire being. And once your body starts to believe in its own capability again, you must ensure your words don't betray that newfound strength. And that brings us to the fourth habit, the one that can undo your progress every time you open your mouth. This is the verbal habit of opinion invalidation. For the next day, listen closely to how you speak and how other men our age speak. How often do you hear a thought prefaced with a disclaimer? Phrases like, "Well, I'm probably wrong, but," or "This might be an old-fashioned view, but," or the classic, "Well, back in my day." These phrases feel polite, even humble, but they are poison to your authority. What you are actually communicating is, "Get ready to dismiss what I'm about to say. I've already done it for you." You are apologizing for your own perspective. You are surrendering your power before you've even made your point. What is the cumulative effect of this? Every time you use one of these phrases, you practice self-dismissal. You train yourself and everyone around you to believe that your voice carries less weight. This often comes from a good place. The world changes quickly. We feel out of touch with new technology or social norms, so we hedge. We don't want to sound like a stubborn old fool, so we soften our language. But in doing so, we accidentally reinforce the very irrelevance we fear. Your life experience is not a liability. It is your single greatest asset. It provides context and a depth that younger people cannot possibly have. To invalidate it before you even share it is an act of profound self-sabotage. Confidence is projected through language. The words we choose not only reflect our inner state, they actively shape it. If you constantly use the language of uncertainty, you will feel more uncertain. Your words instruct your brain on how to feel about yourself. Contrast, "I'm probably wrong, but I think this is the way to go," with "My judgment is to go this way." The first is an apology. The second is a statement of conviction, which still allows you to be wrong. It owns the perspective. A confident man doesn't need to apologize for having thoughts. This is not about becoming an arrogant know-it-all. Confidence is the quiet certainty that your perspective has value and you have the right to state it clearly. So, how do we unlearn this deeply ingrained verbal tic? The antidote is the practice of the declarative statement. It is a conscious effort to surgically remove the apologetic prefaces from your speech. It requires mindfulness. For the next week, your only goal is to catch yourself before you use a dismissive phrase. When you feel the urge to say, "This may be a stupid question, but," you pause, you breathe, you rephrase it directly. What is the reason for this? When you want to say, "Well, back in my day," you stop and you reframe it to share the wisdom without the defensive posture. I learned from experience that. This isn't about aggression. It's about clarity and self-respect. You can still be kind and open to other views. The difference is you are not prejudging your own contribution as worthless. You offer it to the conversation on its own merits. Try it first in a low-stakes conversation, perhaps with your spouse or a close friend. Notice how it feels. It might feel bold or uncomfortable at first. That's a sign the old habit is strong. Persist. Speak in clear, declarative sentences. Own your thoughts. You have spent decades accumulating wisdom. Stop treating it like something that requires an apology. Your voice has weight. When you start using it as if you believe that, you will find that you think with more conviction, and others will begin to respond with a new level of respect, because you are finally respecting yourself. But speaking with authority is powerful, but authority is meaningless in a vacuum. A man's confidence is not forged alone. It is tempered in the presence of other men, which is why the final habit is the most insidious of all. This is the habit of neglecting your tribe. As we age, our social circles naturally contract. Retirement severs daily contact with colleagues. Friends move or pass away. Our children become consumed by their own lives. It is frighteningly easy to slide into a state of quiet isolation. We tell ourselves we enjoy the peace. We convince ourselves we're self-sufficient. But this is a dangerous illusion. Humans are fundamentally social creatures. For men, being part of a team, a crew, a tribe is a core source of identity. Throughout our lives, our confidence was often intertwined with our role in a group: provider, teammate, leader. When these structures dissolve, we can feel adrift, unsure of our place in the world. And a man without a tribe begins to doubt his own value. The scientific data on this is overwhelming. Social isolation is not just a mood killer, it is catastrophic for our health. It's associated with higher rates of depression, cognitive decline, and even heart disease. Loneliness creates chronic stress, flooding the body with cortisol. You can eat perfectly and exercise daily, but if you are socially starved, you will not feel strong. A common mistake is assuming our spouse can fulfill all our social needs. While a strong partnership is a cornerstone of life, it cannot replace the unique dynamic of a man's tribe. The specific camaraderie, the shared challenges, the unspoken understanding between men, this is an essential nutrient for the male soul. Without it, we lose a vital mirror. We lose the accountability and good-natured ribbing that keeps us sharp. We lose the sense of being part of something larger than ourselves. This isn't about being a social butterfly. It's about having a few solid, reliable connections. It's about having men in your life you can speak to without pretense, who you can call on, and who can call on you. This sense of being needed is a powerful engine for self-worth. When you know someone is counting on you, it is impossible to feel irrelevant. What then is the antidote to this creeping isolation? It is a proactive strategy, the weekly check-in protocol. This means shifting from a passive to an active approach to friendship. You can no longer wait for connection to happen. You must build it. The protocol is simple. Every week, you deliberately initiate one meaningful contact with another man. This is not a social media like. It is a direct, personal check-in. It could be a phone call, an actual call where you hear another man's voice. The purpose is simple. Just calling to check in, see how things are. It could be an invitation. I'm heading to the coffee shop on Thursday morning. Wanted to see if you could join. It could be an offer of help. I know you were fixing that gate. I've got a free afternoon if you need another set of hands. The key is that you are the initiator. You take responsibility for maintaining the lifeline. Don't wait until you feel lonely. Do it as a discipline, like taking a vitamin. Put it in your calendar. Tuesday, 10 a.m., call John. It might feel awkward at first, but you will be amazed how much men appreciate it. In a world of digital noise, a direct, sincere human connection is a rare commodity. Make a list right now of 3 men in your life. Pick one. Your mission for this week is to execute one check-in. That single act breaks the spell of isolation. It reinforces your identity as a friend and member of a tribe. And it builds a safety net of connection more crucial for your long-term confidence than any financial asset. We have now identified the 5 habits: living in the past, consuming without creating, ceding physical territory, invalidating your opinions, and neglecting your tribe. By seeing them clearly, you have already taken the most difficult step. You have turned unconscious patterns into conscious choices. This is the seat of your power. But you might be thinking, this all sounds like a lot of work. You might be feeling tired, dealing with chronic pain, or simply feel it's too late to change. These are not excuses, they are real-world considerations, so let's address them. If you feel overwhelmed, embrace this principle. Start ridiculously small. The goal is not to perfectly fix all 5 habits tomorrow. The goal is to break the momentum of one old habit with a single tiny action. If the one new thing rule feels daunting, your mission for the week is to simply try one new spice on your dinner. That's it, a complete success. If the creation ratio seems impossible, your goal is to spend just 5 minutes organizing one shelf before you turn on the news. That is a victory. If one hard thing is intimidating due to physical limits, adapt it. If your knees are bad, your hard thing isn't taking the stairs. It's doing one extra careful sit to stand from your favorite chair. The point is not the magnitude of the task, but the conscious choice to push back, safely and gently. You are still choosing effort over ease. As for the feeling that it's too late to change, that idea is a relic of outdated science. The modern understanding of the brain centers on a concept called neuroplasticity. It means your brain is constantly capable of rewiring itself, forming new connections, and learning new habits, right up until your final day. Every time you consciously choose a new action over an old one, you are physically weakening an old neural pathway and strengthening a new one. Think of it like forging a new path in a forest. At first, it's hard work, but every time you walk it, the path becomes clearer, wider, and easier to travel, until it becomes the new default. Your age is not a barrier. It can be an advantage. You have a deeper understanding of yourself than you did at 30. You can approach this work with wisdom and patience. It is not too late. The hardware is still capable of being reprogrammed. You simply have to write the new code, one small choice at a time. Here is your call to action. Do not try to fix everything at once. That is a recipe for overwhelm and failure. Instead, choose one. Of the 5 habits we dissected, which one resonated most deeply? Which one made you feel the most seen? That is your starting point. For the next 7 days, forget the other 4. Your entire focus is on that one habit and its specific antidote. Write it on a piece of paper and put it where you will see it every day. Your task is not perfection. It is consciousness. It is making one small choice each day that moves you in the new direction. If you chose living in the past, your only job is to find one new thing each day. If you chose neglecting your tribe, your only job is to make one phone call this week. Just one habit, one antidote, 1 week. Prove to yourself that change is still possible. If this guide has provided you with a clear map, hit the like button so this message can find other men who need it. This is not the end of your story. This is the start of a new, more powerful chapter. You have the tools. You have the choice. The man you were is the foundation for the man you are now becoming. It is time to build.